Another wild attack on Ukraine by Russian missile forces. 93 missiles and 200 drones were launched. Entire 11 of them were shot down by F-16 fighter jets. EU forces could be the peacekeeping army in Ukraine, but we would provoke deep concerns too. All this and more in our today's episode. Let's go. Last night, Russia launched a massive aerial attack against Ukraine on Friday with dozens of cruise missiles and drones. Ukraine's energy minister Herman Houshenko said that Russia was targeting the country's energy grid. The enemy continues its terror, he said. Ukraine's Air Force reported multiple strike drones launched at Ukraine overnight, followed by swarms of cruise missiles in the country's airspace. Russia also used air-launched ballistic Kinzhal missiles against Ukraine's western regions. Let me quote Euronews for you. This Friday's attack is the latest in a series of such raids that have sparked fears that the Kremlin is targeting Ukraine's power grid as a cold winter is about to set in. Sparked fears. What is that supposed to mean? Whose fears are sparked? We in Ukraine have no fears or doubts of any sort about what Russia is doing. We know exactly what it is doing. It commits a war crime before the very eyes of international society that enjoys fears of escalation, express deepest concerns or condolences for that matter, and plain how long Ukraine can go.
This morning, Russia attacked Ukraine's energy grid with 93 missiles and 200 drones, targeting critical infrastructure that civilians in Odessa, Vinnytsia, Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Cherkasy and Kyiv rely on for heat, water and power. We continue to stand with Ukraine against Russia's war, Bridget Brink, US ambassador to Ukraine on X social network.
While Russia has relentlessly pummeled Ukraine's electricity system since launching its invasion in 2022, its attacks have resulted in the repeated shutdown of critical heating and drinking water supplies during the bitter winter months in an apparent attempt to break Ukrainian spirit and resolve. The previous such massive attack on November 28 involved about 200 missiles and drones and left more than 1 million households without power until emergency teams restored supplies. Thugs in the Kremlin say that the attacks aim to target Ukraine's defense industry, producing missiles, drones, armored vehicles and artillery, among other weapons. Following that Russian logic, when Kakhovka Dam that was controlled by Russians was blasted by Russians themselves, Ukrainian forces had military factories on a territory occupied by Russia. The answer to a question what Putin is doing now is obvious. It is not a question in the first place. Putin gets himself a better stack before any possible negotiations by killing as many Ukrainians as possible. The bloodier the stack, the better the win.